everyone. Welcome to Work Love Wednesday. Samm and Smelter here for Work Love Wednesday. It is time for Work Love Wednesday. All right. So missed you last week. I had a combination of allergies and just being really, really tired. I had slacked a little bit on my daily practices and routines, and so all those things that help keep me going, I was not doing, and as a result, I basically became a big bum. I was slowly kind of just chipping away at the days, doing what I needed to do to get by and go home, and barely kind of functioning. Watched a lot of TV, which is my default thing that I go to when I'm not taking care of myself in the way that I should. Also, food is the other thing, and we're going to talk a little bit about all that because it all relates to the grounding topic that I want to share with you today. So before we get into that, I guess let's just get into it. I think we should just get into it. Trying to make sure. New camera, new lights. Oh, like the world is going sideways. Okay. Did you see that? I tried to adjust my glasses and I don't have them on. Okay then. All right. I need my coffee. Okay, let's talk about grounding because it is really, really important. Today, in preparations of talking about grounding, I actually made sure I did some of my practices that ground me so that I would be more in tuned and able to talk about grounding practices and what that exactly means. But, so what is grounding? So grounding basically is a fancy term for being in your physical body, actually being aware of being in your body, aware of your emotions, aware of how your body feels, but actually truly being in your body. And I know some of you, when I say that, would be like, well, if I'm not in my body, where am I? And one of the things that a lot of us tend to do is we want to escape our bodies because maybe something is happening or we're experiencing a physical sensation or disease or unwellness, but for whatever reason, we're not happy. And so we want to escape, and we escape our body by basically living in essentially la la land. And so we're not in tune with our physical body. We're disconnected. And there's a couple of ways that we do this. Number one is through what I kind of mentioned before is food. So the organ in your body that filters everything that comes through is your liver. And we can do things to numb the liver so that we don't feel as much. So that could be alcohol, that could be drugs, obviously, that will numb the liver. We know that alcohol has direct ties to the liver. It can also be, it could also be processed food, junk food, high sugar, all those kinds of things have the same effect and numbing sensation on the liver. So you might notice that when you're stressed or when you're unhappy, that you reach for things like the donuts or the cookies or even the chips, things that you know that you should not be eating, drinking soda. But after doing so, you feel a new sense of calm, a new sense of what you think is calm, but it's disassociating with your body. It's putting you in this other state. The other way that we do it is basically we consume so much in our environment, and this is usually by people. So instead of feeling what I feel, I take on emotions of others. So anyone who is highly empathic, maybe you don't know that you're empathic or super sensitive in social settings, you might take on other people's energies, and as a result become disassociated with your body, trying to run away. So you want to think about when we're faced with circumstances where we don't want to face them and we don't want to be there. So even like high conflict situations, extreme situations of pain or heartbreak, we want to disassociate from our physical body. We don't want to feel the pain. We don't want to deal with those scenarios. And as a result, we are not grounded. And when we're not grounded, we're not able to manifest or bring to life things that we want to make happen, like our dreams, our goals. If you're creative, your artistic work, you feel like you're just running on the hamster wheel continually, because it's when we're grounded, when we're rooted, that we're actually able to make things happen. We're present in the moment. We're physically fully present in the moment. We're owning all of our crap and being able to move forward. I am level 1 attuned Reiki, and when I would practice with clients and do Reiki attunements, or not attunements, Reiki treatments, one of the things that I always notice is a lot of us would have built up energy through the first, essentially, 6 chakras, and then the rooted chakra, the one that's in our feet, the things that manifest and make things happen. There was always a huge disconnect between the two. And I would spend a lot of time in these treatments doing basically these hand motions of trying to pull the energy back down to help. Even though if you had ideas, a lot of people would say they had business ideas and lacked clarity, or they had a situation that was happening and couldn't understand what to do. All of those things were just sitting in some of the other chakra systems, but they couldn't get down and be rooted enough for a decision to occur so that something could happen and take place. And so we basically put our life in this big place of pause when we choose to disassociate from our body. Now, recently, I have disassociated with my body. I lived for a long time being very good at disassociating from my body because I didn't like feeling. I am a super sensitive individual. So being in a social setting, I could pick up on emotions of the people that are around me. Hated that. Hated that, especially in a situation where somebody had a feeling about me. So whether you don't like me, you thought I was ugly, you didn't like what I was wearing, I could pick up on that and I could feel it very intensely. I think I would almost magnify it and allow it to grow because I was so focused on it, but it was so detrimental to me. And then to try to shut it down, I actually ate a lot. A period of time I drank quite a bit as well, but doing things to basically numb it. At one point in time, I think I had almost all my major meals coming from a fast food restaurant at some point, and it was because it was the only way that it would numb the feelings. Working in HR, doing terminations, doing investigations where people are really hurt in the work environments, it is something that takes a serious toll on a sensitive individual. And so I was there and wanting to disassociate with my body, and I got very, very good at it. And over the last 2 weeks or so, which here's a perfect example, work, love not happening, not manifesting, me not doing that stuff and being neglectful of that is a perfect example of the fact that I had disassociated with my body, wanting to veg out and watch TV, another way for me to escape, almost trying to take on the characters of whatever I'm binge watching at the time and escape to this other world because I didn't want to face what I was feeling in the moment and what was happening for me at this moment in my life. Whether it's a growth period, whether it's just a struggle or a conflict or one of the normal things that happen every single day, or a wake up thinking, I don't know how I ended up where I am today. All of those things can trigger us to disassociate. We want to run away. So think about the innate nature to fight or flight. Disassociating with our body is a flight syndrome. When we talk about traditional Chinese medicine, they talk about in treatments how the body can actually shut down and go into basically your spirit will exit and travel away. Like it will disassociate with your body saying, no, thank you. I don't want you to heal whatever trauma is there. I don't want to deal with those emotions. Thank you so much, but no, thank you, and moves on. And so we disassociate all the time. There's so many times that I've talked to people who are disassociated with their body and they're not fully aware, and they're living out in this la la land kind of made up of daydreams, and are frustrated because things are not happening. But to be happen, we have to come back down to reality. We have to get back down into what's happening, truly happening in the physical reality of the world. So that's grounding. That's what it feels like. If you have different feelings with disassociation in the past, if you're someone who is doing the healing work of this and have other things that you did that you used as ways to disassociate to kind of fuel this beast, list them in the comments, share that with all of us, or send me an email if you don't want to post in the comments, because I know that happens sometimes that we don't want to talk about it publicly, even though I think we should talk about it publicly, but sometimes we don't. But list in the comments, share with me how you have disassociated from your body in the past. What are other things besides highly processed food? Is there a particular food that you found that you used, like Twinkies? Or I know for me in college, it was Pepsi, like regular Pepsi. I would go through 2 liters after 2 liters of regular Pepsi. I also know Big Macs and McDonald's French fries were a big one for me at one point in my life as well. So were there certain things that you found were just effective, but not even understanding? Now that I say this to you, you may not even know that you're using it to disassociate from your body. But now that I say this, what are some things that kind of come to mind? So that's grounding, is leaving our body. That's kind of why we do it. And there's lots of reasons why we do it, but kind of giving an overview as to why. And then to correct it, we have to ground. And so when I first started grounding myself, trying to do this healing work and work through it and come back into my body, the only way that I knew how to start increasing my awareness of what it felt like to be in my body was actually working with a holistic practitioner who helped me understand essential oils and got me into some of the grounding essential oils. So if you have any friends that are in essential oils, if you do stuff with essential oils, I am not trained in them enough that I'm going to start talking about essential oils, because I know that if you don't use them correctly, they can potentially be harmful. If you know of really great grounding essential oils, list them in the comments, send them suggestions, email them to me, and I'll share them with everybody else who's watching this. But for me, essential oils were recommended to me by a holistic practitioner. Finding the oils that really resonated with me, that were earthy, woodsy smelling, reminiscent of the earth. Grounding is essentially, coming back down to earth. And I would wear them. Well, at first, I would just carry around the bottle and kind of take sniffs. And she would challenge me to do this before entering highly social settings so that I could feel the shift in my energy. But what happened with the oils is they were a really quick way that when I took a couple of deep breaths, smelling, not putting the oil on me, but just smelling the oil, it allowed me to quickly come back in. It was the only thing, and even to this day, that I have found that rapidly, like if you need an immediate shock to your system of getting grounded, is smelling an oil. It was almost like my energy would just go right back in, and I would know exactly what I felt like in my own body. At that point, we were using it as a method so that when we would go into a room with a large amount of people, I could start to separate when it's someone else's energy that I'm taking on versus my energy. I could do a really quick check of, this is how I feel, versus now this is how I'm feeling when I'm picking up on all this other stuff. And so that's why it was used at that point in time. However, the ability to smell an oil and like I said, it goes right back into your body was really, really powerful. Once I knew that it worked, the other thing I invested in were those aromatherapy essential oil bracelets. So sometimes, here's like my trick. You can tell when I'm not grounded and I'm doing work. You'll see that I'm either wearing a bracelet or a necklace that has the aromatherapy, and I'm wearing a grounding oil. So if you're around me and you're like, oh, that smells like dirt or smells like a woody kind of element, there's a good chance that I am having trouble being grounded. And for me to do the work that I need to do, yes, I need to disassociate and be connected at a higher level, but I have to come back down or I won't make any sense. And so being grounded is really, really important. And that is still one of my really quick tips, is the essential oil. And there's so many practitioners out there that use essential oils. I will actually tag Firefly Hollow Wellness Center in my links. They have created some custom oil blends for individuals if you tell them what you need help for, and they're amazing. I still have some of one that I had created probably about a year or two ago, and it's awesome. So number one, quick way, because everyone's always looking for that magic pill. If you want to know the quickest way to feel what it's like to be grounded in your body, essential oils. Number two, this one I use with my daughter all the time. She hates it because she doesn't understand the ability to be grounded, but my one daughter has the tendency to disassociate. That's her number one coping mechanism when she doesn't like things that are happening in her life. And so I do this with her, and it's basically familiarizing yourself with the way that the ground feels. So anything that reminds you physically of what it feels like in your body. So with my daughter, I start to ask her, how do your feet feel inside your shoes? Can you wiggle them around? If we're in a place, take your shoes off, put them in the grass. That's, oh my gosh, that's a great way to just go connect your skin to the actual earth outside. But what does the grass feel like? What does the pavement feel like? Starting to actually pay attention to the physical sensations that your body is feeling is huge for grounding. And so I always start these cues down, and she rolls her eyes at me, but you can feel her start to come back down. It does take a level of consciousness and awareness to do that. It takes you have to be able to feel and have the patience for that. If you can't quiet your mind and you're not quite there yet, that's why I said the oils first. So yeah, so that's number two. Number two is, feeling the sensations of your feet on the ground, actually physically putting your feet on the ground, bare feet on the earth. And you can Google grounding. There's so many articles and studies out there when they talk about how important it is to put your bare feet on the earth and about being in nature. But as a tangible kind of tool, just being able to put your feet in a texture environment and focus on how they're feeling will help ground you and bring you back into your body. The last one, obviously, we talk a lot about Qigong. I'm a big fan of it with this standing meditations. But not only that, I mean, Qigong talks about this whole idea of conscious harmony in the body, but it talks about being conscious, feeling energy. So the entire time that you do a Qigong practice, you are feeling energy. You're always building up your sensitivity to feeling the energy and how it runs through your body. When I do treatments on patients and they're laying on the table, they're challenged with having an awareness of what they're seeing or feeling and how it feels in their body. This is no different with any other energy work. If you go in and set the intention to feel, it's gonna increase your awareness. It's going to ground you. Some energy work does have the intention of disassociating you, but a good energy practitioner should always bring you back. They should always root you, and you should feel the difference. In Qigong, yes, you're always building up an awareness of the energy and what it feels like, but you also are developing an incredible awareness about what energy feels like in your body, what it feels like. One of the biggest changes that I've seen in Qigong is through the act of purging. So in medical Qigong, we focus on three major actions per se, or goals, which are basically purging the body of any energy that no longer serves us. We tonify, so we want to bring in a new energy, cultivate, and also strengthen the energy that we have, and then we regulate it to make sure that we're completely balanced. But when we are purging and getting rid of energy that no longer serves us, that includes the energy of others, energy that we picked up. When we do that, I find that the act of doing the purging exercises in the workout actually grounds me. It brings me back to that present moment. Following that up with the standing meditation, the Wuji posture, which is pretty much the basis of medical Qigong. We actually use the Wuji posture when we're doing treatments. It's a great posture for allowing you to, through breathing, inhale up earth energy. So you're basically in these standing meditations being connected to the earth and bringing in that energy, and it really is a grounding practice. So those are 3 ways to ground yourself, and I kind of like built on them in their advanced level. The first one, essential oils are always funny with people because some people have allergies. Some people, everyone has their opinion about oils. I have found that there are some oils that, yes, will trigger a massive seasonal allergic reaction in me. Then there's others that actually smell like dirt, or smell like certain trees. There's so many different options out there. And if you're open and you want to get grounded, that is my number 1 way to get you there quickly, as far as my recommendation. Number 2 is playing with actually going out in nature, putting your bare feet on the ground, or just having an awareness of what your feet feel like when they are on the ground. And then the last one is a Qigong practice, energy work. Working with an energy practitioner who actually will guide you and coach you through this, being rooted in your practice. Or the other option is just, I say this time and time again, and I probably would not say it if it wasn't having such an impact in my life. And this morning I did my Qigong practice for the first time in probably maybe about a week, might be less than that, but which is a long time for me. I feel incredible today. I've been so productive. I've been so focused. And I owe that to that practice of building this conscious awareness of cultivating my own energy and taking care of it. And so at the end of the day, to be grounded, the number 1 way that I have found for myself in a long haul, like if this is going to be a new lifestyle for you, is something with a daily practice. For me, it is Qigong. That's what resonated with me. I followed a couple people. I will link up Gabby Bernstein. If you follow her on Instagram, she does some amazing videos on her morning rituals where it's very important for her to take care of her energy. Anybody who works in the line of healing work, if they call themselves a light worker, any of them are going to have some very strict daily practices, because otherwise, if they don't take care of themselves like that, if they can't be grounded when they go out on stage, if they let ego kind of take over, they can't serve the way that they need to. And so they're great sources of inspiration. So if I said that descriptor and you thought of somebody that you already follow on Instagram, or any of the other social media channels, I say Instagram because I see it a lot where people are sharing their daily practices, I highly encourage you to look through their feed to see if they've ever shared anything about daily practices that they're using, because I guarantee part of that process is finding ways to ground themselves. If they don't, reach out to them. That's a great topic. I mean, I know anyone who is creating content, and most of those people are, if they're creating content and you share with them that you would like to know how they are staying grounded on a daily basis, I think that's a great idea. It's interesting for me to talk about this topic, and I wanted to for a while because I get this question a lot actually when I go and do free coffee dates with people. A lot of people ask different questions, but really comes down to being grounded. And I think we spend a lot of time focused on how to handle stress, but we're not ever talking about how to come back into our body. And stress is one of the things that causes us to disassociate with our body, because we don't want to feel the magnitude of it and what it's doing to us. We just want to keep going through the motions, and we just keep disassociating more and more. And then sometimes we have a huge struggle to come back. Others find it. They do it through journaling. They have some sort of reflective practice that reminds them what it's like to be in their body. And sometimes, I can make this argument because I've done those practices as well. I don't know if I was still fully back in my body where I thought that I was. I was better, but not fully. Doing one of these other kind of interventions allows you to slowly get back to fully being present in your body. And it's when we're fully present that we can really be of service to others, and really do the work that we really want to do in our professional lives, but also in our personal lives. If I am constantly disassociated, I can't be the mother or the wife that I want to be to my husband or my children. And that goes the same for if I'm disassociated. I can't be the coach or the healer, or even the motivational speaker that I want to be, or the author. I can't write the books and be there present if I'm living in a world where I'm disassociated. So that is my Work Love Wednesday. If you found this helpful, I would love if you would share it on any of your social media channels. If you're watching later, because you just missed it, and I know we are filming early today because I have appointments starting at 11, unfortunately, today, but I wanted to make sure I got this done. See that Qigong practice, making sure getting rid of my excuses. If you're watching this later, make sure you do #replay. It really helps out in sharing this video with others and just letting me know that you saw it, and that really helps too. So even if you don't want to leave a comment, because I know that's one of these weird things that we're putting things out there, you can always send me an email, SAMM@leadership-is-art.com. Otherwise, have a great week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Yeah.